Your fame is well earned. I admire talent. You might like to join us and earn wealth and fame. I have all the wealth I need. Now then, will you come peacefully, or must I kill you?
Hi, I'm Sifu Brazil, SFG. Today we're going to kind of go more in a tutorial about how to go about grip in general. There's a lot of tools for the trade as it is. There's a lot of gimmicky items out there, especially in the martial arts world. Try to stay away from them. They're not really that great as they portray and not needed. There's a lot of things that are a lot more thrifty that you can just find all the way around to get better results with it. A good starter is to actually get something that's like a grip master made by Pro Hands. This is a great tool to use because it's very diverse on how you articulate your fingers, get solid crushing grip. Your other tool is just your standard crush grip, where it just focuses on the crushing effect. You can see them pretty much anywhere. They're at Walmart, Sports Authority. It's the classic tool. Now, once you kind of get past like the standard like grip master, little hand grippers, then you generally focus on your grip being something of a use of like example like a kettlebell, a dumbbell, some sort of weight training in general, and that can consist of just doing any type of hold, heavy weight in general. Generally heavy. I mean, this here is a 70-pounder, but if you can get heavier and you can do it, do it. Okay. Then you also got your hook grip to focus on, where it focuses on that nature. Then you have something as your kettlebell swing. That creates centrifugal force. You have no option but to hold on, and that as well creates grip strength. So when swinging in general, is the pull. Okay? So that in general, I have no choice, because imagine if I let go to not have grip strength, people could get hurt, I could break something to keep in mind. But this is what your next steps, and there's so many different weights in the kettlebells in general. Then we have another fun tool I like to use is my mace bell. This one I made myself, bowling ball, which is standard like electrical pipe. Okay? And once again, this creates that same effect. Just by holding it in this steady position, you have no choice but to hold on, get some grip. Then when you get your swing in there, it creates that same centrifugal force that you need to hold on, as well as developing other things, as well as not just grip. And that would be your kettlebell and mace bell. And now another specialty item besides there's something to go beyond, once again, like a mace bell or kettlebell, something that creates a symmetrical force, is the classic rope climb, in the gyms. Okay, just alone is implying that you need to hold on. So this creates amazing grip strength in itself, just by climbing up, climbing down. It's a necessity in general. So even just holding, lifting, this is a very important step of needed also in functioning and making your grip strength even better. And now this specialty item is a rock climbing board, okay, a rock hold board. These have many different types of holds that particularly, once again, our hands are very diverse. We have like our fingers, the palms, all these things are, vital as far as what make up grip, like with the thumb and finger. So these are an amazing tool to use to play on as such, because you have multiple grips to be able to use, to hold, down, switch, around, okay? A lot of different kind of positions, okay, to really train those hands in amazing fashion, okay? So you got the nice slopes and hold. So there's so many unique ways to kind of go about that. These are kind of really specialty. So if you're definitely a rock climber, these are something you want, because out in the field, you never know what you're going to run into. These will definitely help you with that, but is it necessarily needed compared to some other tools? Not really. You'll find through the next steps, you can just focus on these traits, and you'll get the same effect out of them. This just gets you familiarized with the environment. Okay, you'll find with all those other tools we kind of covered that you'll just really need a bar, period. You know, a standard pull-up bar, you can find these in the parks, gymnastics gyms. Here at the Lohan School of Shaolin, we built this one here. This one's 1 1/4 bar. Generally, the thicker the bar gets, also the more it intensifies the use of the fingers and just solid grip you need. And there's two ways to go about your grip when hanging on the bar, because once again, your hands are so dynamic. When you get a closed grip, involves like the fist, that's more thumb focus than it is the fingers. So when you get that kind of grip, that's more thumb. Then when you get what's called a hook grip, you'll see like in the primates do this, and what it does as well is take away any calluses, okay, being attacked when doing it. So when you get up here, when you hold, you'll notice that your calluses kind of get a little irritated, especially if you do a lot of pull-ups. A lot of the CrossFitters or anyone in general, they tend to rip their calluses off eventually with this. But if you change to a hook grip, it takes away that. But now you're focusing on finger strength solely to hold you up, those tendons, strengthening those tendons, okay? When hanging on the bar, to keep in mind for pure safety, is you actually want to be able to pull your chest up, because your shoulders, you don't want to just dead hang. You actually want to pull. So when you're here, this is a dead hang. You actually want to pull that chest up. What that does is protect your shoulders, kind of engage your latissimus dorsi to strengthen the shoulders more in a static position to kind of protect that surrounding, since your shoulders are so free moving. Okay, and also just on the grip aspect of training, there's two ways to go about it. You have the dead hang, and then you have the bent arm hang, and then you essentially can do the full up top. That one's more about just getting the dynamics of your muscles more than your grip. But from here, you go to here, now you're attacking in an isometric hold for endurance, but it's still training your grip in this position. Then you got your dead arm hang, once again, to still be training your grip, but this is very vital if you're ever going for endurance. Maybe example, you're doing American Ninja Warrior, doing the cliffhanger. You want to be able to train that 2 gears to where you're in this bent arm hang to a full hang, because now you have 2 gears to play with. Because if you only train your dead arm hang, you'll gas out earlier and then you'll have nothing to fall back on. Whereas if you get the bent arm hang, when you get gassy, you'll be able to switch to that and still get some performance out of it. So it's still important to kind of go about both. And definitely don't forget about how the hands go with the hook and closed grip. Now we have some more specialty items that you can use for grip. So if you get bored of just hanging on the bar, these are like nunchuck grips. You can find these and purchase. These are also a great training tool as well, because they practice your your vertical as you kind of go about and all this stuff. It's just important to practice your grip, and you try to always go for time. These are somewhat a little bit pricey, because you got to get the right carabiners. You got to get rock climbing grade ones as well. So that's where this stuff can, especially with this type of tool, get pricey. Whereas towels are, you can find pretty much any junk towel probably in your house, and you'll have a lot of respect for towels once you give them a try. I mean, really, ultimately, it's like if you try doing a one-arm towel hang, believe me, you won't be able to handle that. But you just get 2 once you can get to this level, and that alone, it creates so much force that you have to hold on that it's going to strengthen your fingers and your closed grip. So it really tackles, once again, the dynamics of the hand. And then you have another fun specialty item that focuses on something like a tiger claw, I guess you could say, or an eagle claw if you're in the martial arts. And they're globes. Okay, ultimately, if you can hold them from this position, you got some pretty godlike grip. But this is all really the requirement. It's just be able to hold them up top. And this itself changes a lot of how it functions and how challenging it is. And ultimately, in the end, when you do any of these hang grips, You try to just get about 4 sets of like 30 seconds. Nothing too crazy until you get to your most difficult one that you can handle at that time. And then you try to hold on for as long as you can. And that's how you kind of get better. And you can start moving on to the towels, these specialty grips, and so forth. But if you just stick with like the kettlebells, the mace bells, the rope climbs, the rock boards, I mean, these will all still ultimately give you that same effect.
Yep.
Hand care, the most neglected thing to pretty much any athlete. From doing any bar or grip training, you're going to get these calluses. It's just kind of like the nature of the beast, okay? The calluses, they get really dry, especially like even using gym chalk. That's also an important thing to do to help keep the sweat so you can hold on and do your activity, but they get dry. So the goal is to try to keep them moist, and you'll want to use like some hand creams, some rock climbing butter, you know, before you go to bed to kind of revitalize them. And a lot of times you focus on trying to do the old picking them off or get some nail clippers and actually clip at them to shave them down, because it's important, because as they build up, if you don't take care of them, they're going to rip off. And some athletes actually glorify about that, but to me that's not training smart, because now your hand's torn up, and now what are you going to do for the next week or two, you know, except maybe train your legs. You know, I guess if you never do leg day, that's a good thing, because then you can focus on that. But you want to be able to make sure you take care of these. So before there's a problem, you're going to want to ever use, you know, definitely use things like athletic tape. There's a lot of ways you can wrap your hands. Using moleskin, you know, depending how sensitive it gets under there. Because once they get cut, there might be, you know, bacteria and stuff, and the moleskin kind of helps protect them so you don't get anything weird or infections. You know, it's really slim to even get that. So you want to use like the moleskin. It provides padding, okay, underneath like the athletic tape. And then you got gloves. So definitely just use gloves. When it gets to that point where your hands are just, you feel they're gonna rip or they get super sensitive, don't try to tough it out and be like, yeah, I can do it, and then get it ripped off and then hooray, now I can't train for a week or two because now it's got to heal. But use gloves. I prefer actually rancher style gloves. I cut the fingertips off. These provide great cushion. They provide great friction as well. But yeah, just any kind of gym glove generally works. You'll find you'll kind of might have to play with different types of gloves after a while, and you'll see what works best for you. Even the gymnastic wrist wraps, you know, with the palm protection, those you can get. Some CrossFit gym or stores actually sell like some simpler ones for a lot cheaper, or you can buy the professional ones like Olympic grade, and those are pretty pricey because they have the full-on pretty solid leather base. Once again, it's pretty pricey. I'm a pretty thrifty guy, you know. You'll find that you don't need to go and do all that fancy stuff when you have basic things like this to take care of it. And these are like $10 for the two, Home Depot. Okay, now with the grip as, of course, the final thought, I'm going to probably repeat myself as before, but if you want to be better at what you do, you definitely want to train your grip, because the grip makes things possible, you know. Like if you have an exercise like a pull-up, even a push-up, a handstand press, it involves gripping of some kind or another, whether it's the floor, of course grabbing the bar to be able to commit to the move. That generally creates strength. It creates a totality of the body, creating tension. So it actually, grip in general, in ways, kind of helps strengthen the whole body. In warriors of old-time strongmen, this is really what they focused on the most, because like if they're in battle, they need to have, you know, a strong endurance in their grip to be able to keep fighting, because how can they hold their weapon if they're got a weak grip, you know? And those battles went on for hours and days, and even our modern military, you know, the men and women out there, it applies to the same, you know, for like pistol and rifle shooting. You need to have, you know, a pretty strong grip to still be able to handle these weapons as well, and of course endure these long times. So just, you know, if you want to be better at anything you do, just practice the grip, because that's what's needed. Vanity gets out the door. It's all about being capable, and then the aesthetics kind of flow with it as well. Make it a practice, not a workout.